Jack. You won't let me go until it's full.
You only change on your own.
Yeah, I only want the small coins. They brought me all around it.
I can't speak.
Get in the wing club.
I'm Charlie Stonham. I know he
You sort of like, film music.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Megaphone. Tell everyone to be quiet.
My lords, ladies, and gentlemen, and the citizens of Hastings, and our Lord Mayor, the Honourable Nigel, I am delighted to welcome you all here to celebrate the life and memory of Billy the TUBMAN, and to ask, who am I going to ask to unveil it?
James? No, me.
And to ask James.
No, hang on, Pastor Richard. Pastor Richard.
And to ask Pastor Richard to unveil his plaque
No, not yet.
in his memory. Thank you. God save the Queen.
Well done, Richard.
Thank you, Richard, our town crier, Old Town crier, and indeed we are here to honour the memory of Alfred Mills Stonham, and I know that there are many members of the Stonham family with us today. And Alfred Mills Stonham was actually born at number 12 in this street, but lived in, don't ask me to elaborate, but lived in several different addresses here in West Street. He was born in 1878, one of a fishing family, and you just remember that this is well before any welfare state. So people went to sea, and it was really a question of whether they had a good catch and they could feed their families. So that was Alfred Mills Stonham, and his family knew nothing else except going to sea. Most of the fishermen at that time were also early members of the lifeboat crew, including Alfred, but nearly every one of the fishing families who went to sea were also members of the RNLI and active members of the lifeboat. And indeed, Alfred was a key person got a silver medal from the R&L for bravery when they rescued the skipper of the William and Mary, which you can still see in Rockanaw Road by the Fishermans Museum, but they rescued in high seas in a very primitive lifeboat the skipper of the William and Mary in 1904. Alfred also, of course, lived through both wars, and he was a soldier, lived through World War I and World War II. But perhaps we know him, or many of us, best for his antics offshore in the tub, which you can still see in the Fisherman's Museum. And therefore he was given the nickname of BIDDY the TUBMAN. And his antics in the tub are, well, history of Hastings and particularly of the Old Town. He liked to encourage especially young ladies to come in the tub. And if you've been able to see the Pathé News, I can recommend it to you. You can find it on YouTube. You can actually see Biddy in what looks like his long johns performing handstands and goodness knows what in that tub. Before and after the Second World War, a lot remember him in the mid-50s, which was really the start of Hastings as a sort of knotted, hanky seaside resort. Biddy was there offshore to entertain residents and visitors alike. So with all that, all those memories and that heritage, then I'm very grateful to Sue Church, who spearheaded a campaign on Facebook and got a group together who were determined to see the memory of Biddy the Tubman retained. And they lobbied hard and explained this fantastic history of an old Hastings character. And then they came to the Winkle Club, of course, which Biddy, 1904, was one of the founder members. The Winkle Club began in 1900, all fishermen. Biddy in 1904, and when he performed his antics in the tub, then he would have somebody on shore collecting for Old Town charities and the Winkle Club. So thankfully, to that campaign, which spearheaded by Sue, came to the Winkle Club, and the trustees of the Winkle Club were able to finance the Blue Plaque. And our chairman, Christian Burton, actually erected it, if that's permissible language, I don't know. But anyway, he did. And our deputy mayor, who will say a few words after me, is actually the great-grandson of Biddy the Tubman. And he told me to offer any of you who want to come out in the tub. He'll give you a 12. Is that all right?
Keep a nice boat beside you.
to raise money for the Old Town charity. So now I will pass over to our Deputy Mayor, James Bacon, and the chairman of Hastings Winkle Club to unveil this plaque.
Yay!
Christian, say some words first.
Well, firstly, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for coming out today. I think Richard's pretty much said everything that I was going to say. Only joking. You've done a really good job in explaining why we are here today, to celebrate the life of Biddy the Tubman and to reveal the blue plaque as well. Can you swim? I think that was a line which Biddy would have said pretty much every day, especially in the summer holidays, to all those people that went into his tub. But today I want to ask you a very different question. When you hear the name Biddy the Tubman, what word or phrase pops to your mind? Just tell the person next to you a word or phrase that pops to your mind when you hear the name Biddy the Tubman. Fish? Bacon. Bacon. few different terms. Well,
Give us a twirl.
give us a I mean, when I think of Biddy, there's three phrases that really pop to mind. Firstly, Hastings' character. Because, as we all know, if we live in Hastings, there's so many characters about. But back in the day, Biddy would have been one of those characters. And I know my nan used to say that when he got onto the bus, he used to say, I don't need to pay, I'm Biddy the Tubman. I think that really pretty much sums him up as a typical Hastings character, indeed. Secondly, entertainer. He went out on his tub, often entertaining not just the people of Hastings, but so many holiday makers from this country, and of course around the world as well. So he would be known, not just to us in Hastings, but throughout the world in the UK. And thirdly, the term bravery. As Richard said, he won that award in 1904, the Silver Medal for Bravery, and was awarded that by King Edward VII. So again, an absolute character, and today it's a real honour to be here with Christian and the Winkle Club to unveil this plaque. Before I do so, I just wanted to read a short poem to you, which was entitled Biddy the Tubman. My great uncle wrote a book on poems called Bygone Days, Old Hastings. And I just wanted to share this one with you before we do the unveiling. Biddy the Tubman. Would any young lady like a ride in my tub? Cried Biddy with a wave on his oar, as he stood on the sides of his famous old tub, bringing cheers from the crowds on the shore. In the years long gone by, when the tide was up high, he would spin from the harbour to the pier. In his battered old topper, which always stayed on, his cries could be heard far and near. They called him to London for in town tonight as a guest on the BBC, to speak on the wireless, as it was in those days, about Hastings, our town by the sea. You'll find his old tub in the Fisherman's Church to remind us of good times long gone, when dear Biddy Stonham, the old man in the tub, brought laughter and joy for so long. It's, I think it's time to give it a go.
Here we go. Big round of applause.
Ready? Pull the house down. You've got to get up there now, Christian.
Yeah, so who's going to jump?
I've got a ladder in there. Oh, no, it's fair.
Stand there with the picture.
Yeah. Hang on, we've got...
We got Phil.
You got it. You got it. Lean back. Lean on me when you're...
All right.
Yeah.
See you, Tony. Right. Yeah. See you later then, Keith.
Now I've got Sue Church's thank you list. I don't like thank you lists because you always miss somebody else's important. So if we go through this, I think we've already thanked Christian and the Winkle Club, that's okay. But it's important to remember this idea that persuaded Sue to take action actually came from her father, Terry Baldwin. And he said something should be done to preserve the memory of Biddy the Tubman. And so Sue picked up the cudgels and was determined to see this through. So we must say a little thank you to Sue's father. And then there's Lorna Crabb, whose house this is, who gave permission for the blue plaque, to be put on the wall of her property, and said that if it increases the value in any way, she'll give that to the Winkle Club. On I'm sure that's what it says here. And then there's Claire Fletcher designing the tub logo.
I'll always be a DFL, no matter how long I live here.
Right. Next, and we thank the Mayor for attending.
Don't forget to fill my pot for my holiday. No, hang on, it's not. It's for Hastings Carnival Week.
And James Bacon, direct bloodline to Biddy. Now, who have we got now? Oh no, I'm going to introduce him. Gary Blakely.
Come on down.
Oh, here's the man, the fiddler. We'd like to thank him as well. And of course, all the members on Facebook who campaigned for this. We thank you all. And now, Phil White is here. Phil White, the lead singer in the incredible band Loose Ends, and Frank, the lead guitarist.
He's lead stool player today.
And Phil,
You stop.
I hope, will
What do you mean
tell
you're
you
playing
the
with these stools? What are
story-
you on about?
Tell you the story behind this song, which goes back to his school days. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
So Phil, over to Phil White.
Don't mind if I sit down, do you? I'm getting on a bit. Yeah, this song was written by the headmaster of All Saints Junior School, at which I was a pupil, and I remembered the song over the years. I'd forgotten even if I ever knew that he actually wrote it. And gradually I could only remember the chorus and I lost the words. I tried everywhere. I went to the library because I wanted to find all these words and never did find them. And then one day in the hospital I met my old form master at that school and we were just reminiscing and he was telling me what a lazy tyke I was at school. And I said, do you remember that song about Biddy that we used to sing? I've been trying to find the words. And he said, well, you won't. They were never published because they were written by Mr. Richford, the headmaster. And he said, he's dead, but his wife, his widow, is still alive and she might be able to help you. So I contacted her and lo and behold, she gave me the words. She gave me a recording of Mr. Richford singing it on a little old tape and also his original score, handwritten by him, which was amazing because I've been trying to find this song for about 20 years. And when I read the words, I'd forgotten that there was no mention of Biddy in the song. It was called The Old Tubman, but it didn't mention Biddy and it didn't mention Hastings, which I thought was a bit of a shame. So I wrote another verse to sort of tie it in to Biddy. And that's the song. Gary, by the way, Gary is an amazing fiddle player. I'm so pleased that he's come to help me.
Wonderful.
We're going to sing that song. It was entitled The Old Tubman, but I think we should take the opportunity today to rename it, because whenever I sang it, which I did for my family, we were a bit of a family for sing-songs, they wouldn't say sing the old tubman, they'd say sing Biddy's song. So we're going to play Biddy's song. Yeah, wherever you are. On bright days of summer, it's me you find. Stroll on the front, no doubt you will find a fine crowd of people, their hearts full of joy, to watch me, the old tubman, my skill to employ. Chorus. When I or did twirl the old tub to spin, then you'll raise in the world. Please fold yourself in, come and join in the fun. Sing hey, run-a-dub-dub. Would any young lady like to come in my tub? By the seaside at Hastings is where I'll be found, astride my old tub as I spin it around. Is there any sweet lady who'll come be my crew? For I'm Biddy the Tubman, and here's what for through the years a good life you'd live. Spread happiness and sunshine, work hard each day through, and many will echo, may God bless you. When my all I do tell, the old heart is still in your friends in the world. Please hold yourself in, come and join in the fun. Sing hey, rub it up down. Any young lady like to come in the sun.
Fantastic. Phil and Gary, thank you very, very much. So I think we nearly conclude this. Biddy the Tubman is gone, but due to that determination by so many, is certainly not forgotten. And let's hope that this marks a significant change in West Street as well, because the whole of this street has a history, and it's certainly not just a service road to George Street or the seafront. It deserves much more recognition than that. So let's see this as part of that recognition of the importance of West Street, particularly in the Old Town history. Thank you all very much for coming and honouring the memory of Alfred.
Please hold yourself in, come and join